Are you looking out for a job change? Are you looking to switch your job? Have you completed your notice period or on the verge of completing your notice period? I'm sure people who have already completed their notice period and left their jobs without even having a second job or the other job in their hands must be desperately applying for jobs. People or professionals go through or browse many job portals and try to find the job that matches their skill set. But many a times, in desperation, there are people who just randomly apply for jobs and end up with what? End up with nothing. Let's figure out, or let's just think if we are applying on the right job platforms and are we applying to the right job. Once you are on the verge of completing your notice period or have already completed your notice period, you are desperately looking out for jobs. But that does not mean that you randomly apply for anything and everything. And then once you start applying the job that even doesn't match your skill set, you end up with no calls from recruiters. And I'm sure many of you must be thinking that I've applied almost 100 jobs in a day or sometimes even more, but there's not even a single call that I've received. What are the few things that you need to take care of before you apply for the right job or the right job role? Let's see that. Now, as I say, there are people randomly applying for jobs, which means they do not go through the job description well. But it's out of desperation that they are just applying. First, location. For example, if the job is posted for Pune and there are people from various cities like Hyderabad, Noida, Delhi, Kolkata applying for the job that's based out of Pune. Second, the experience range. The experience of minimum 4 years is required. However, there are freshers or even people with 1 or 2 years of experience applying for that role. Third is the salary. People who already are drawing more salary than what is mentioned in the job description. For example, if the JD says 30K, there are people who already have their expectations as 40 to 50K and are applying for the job which has the maximum budget of 30K. The notice period. The job description clearly specifies that they are looking for immediate joiners or someone with a maximum of 7 to 10 days of their notice. However, there are people with more than 15 days of notice period or even more than 2 months of notice period applying for that particular role. The next is the interview process. The interview process is clearly mentioned as an in-person interview or a walk-in drive, and you are not matching that category. The candidates are unavailable for an in-person interview. The job description clearly specifies the experience required, the salary, the location, the notice period, the interview process, the required skill sets. But there are people not matching either of it or all of it apply for that particular job and then end up with what? 0 calls from the recruiters. Now, how do the recruiters know if you're matching all the required skill sets or if you're matching the criteria or not? Many a times when you upload your resume or apply for a job role, you need to answer few questions those are asked, wherein you mention the reality or your expectations, and the resumes are just not shortlisted. But many a times you apply wherein you have just uploaded your resume and the recruiters can figure out in some places or in some situations only with the resumes, but maximum times what happens is the recruiters call the candidates, ask them the details, and then when the professionals or candidates open up with their expectations, it's a clear red flag because they are not matching either of it or most of it what is required. So this is what happens when you just randomly apply. you do not understand the job description. You do not go through the job description, and just out of desperation, you want to just apply and wait for the recruiter's calls. Your expectations hurt. You do not get any calls, or in case if you get any calls, you are being rejected. And then you don't understand what was the reason behind it. So, guys, if you are looking for some strong calls from the recruiters, or if you are looking for a positive response from the recruiters, or if you want the interview process to go ahead and move out of the first stage, that is just the application stage, make sure you apply for the right job. Make sure you only apply for the job that is matching your experience, that is matching your skill sets, the job that you are comfortable working in, the job that is in the location that you are based out of. Yes, definitely you can apply for those jobs who are accepting or open for the relocation of the candidates, but it's very rare. So make sure you go through the complete job description before applying for any job, so that you do not waste your time, you do not set up your own expectations, and your expectations don't hurt.